Warwickshire Bear Ultra Training, week 2. Tuesday, run number 1 of the week. Currently taking advantage of a well-being afternoon that work have very kindly given us. So there were some options on of things you could do, like axe throwing, escape room, that kind of thing. All sounded really interesting, especially the axe throwing, something I've wanted to do for a while. But unfortunately, the time that was due to start and the location, I was just a bit worried I wouldn't get back in time to get the kids from school. So found out that this wellbeing afternoon we could use largely how we wanted, within reason. So I thought best thing for my well-being is 99% of the time get out for a good run. Okay, so run number 3 of the week. Run number 2 was a very short one because I ran with my son, as you'll have seen. He hasn't run in a while, so 2 and a bit miles and he was done, bless him. But he did really well. It was the route with that big hill in that I ran a loop of last week. Oh, heart rate's creeping up a bit too much. Let's bring that down. But yeah, so run number 1 this week, wellbeing afternoon run. I don't think I said this, but that is the first run in a very, very long time. Like I'm talking over a year probably, just due to how poor my consistency has been. Consistency, there's that word again. Over the past year, where Tuesday's run was the first one where I feel like I was in the driving seat. By being in the driving seat, what I mean is I just felt like I had complete control over everything with that run. Complete control over my heart rate, the mileage, the pace. Don't know, might not make sense to anyone but me, but it just felt right, like a right run. It's a good way to think of it, I suppose. exciting news. Whilst my daughter was at dancing tonight, I finally managed to get together the training plan for this block. Now, I know nothing screams me quite like being nearly at the end of week 2 of a training block and finally having it done, but in all fairness, I had got the bare bones, shall we say, done prior to tonight. Then it was just filling in the last few little bits. So it's really different from any other training plan that I've drawn up, because I found when evaluating previous blocks that have never gone to plan, that was really loud, they've never gone to plan. The big issue and the big reason why is that keyword again, consistency. I manage some weeks in training blocks where I can have effectively a perfect week, get out for the amount of runs that I'm meant to get out for, get the target mileage in, even down to the 1 week that I had on the failure of the training block that was the London Marathon and North Downs Way 50. I did have 1 perfect week just before the chest infection where I did all of that, and I even hit 3 gym sessions that week, I think, or even if it wasn't, it was 2, so not quite perfect but not far off. And that's the problem, is consistency. So with this training block, changing it up, as I said, I've decided that for the 3 build weeks out of 4, with the 4th week being a recovery week, the overall weekly mileage will stay pretty much the same, and the runs within the week will stay pretty much the same. The only thing really that I don't mind varying is the length of the long run, but obviously not by so much that it makes a significant increase or even decrease on the weekly mileage. So I will put that training plan up just to show you, and I must stress, the only knowledge I have when it comes to training plans is what I've gone out and found myself from that wonderful thing called the internet, and through, as I said, putting a few together and giving them a go. So I can't profess to be overly knowledgeable, but I know some people will probably go, you're crazy for keeping the weekly mileage for each of those 3 weeks the same, but I actually feel like I will benefit more and be able to actually complete this ultra by having that consistency, building that base up, with then a lot more variation later on in the plan. But we will see. It's all trial and error at the end of the day, and it'll be good fun along the way. A wild Snorlax appears, by which I mean random thought that popped into my head talking about the training block and my logic behind the way that it looks, etc. I had the realisation as well that every time I have managed to hit a consistent or perfect week in previous training blocks, if the following week has then gone to pot, and by gone to pot I mean many different variations of what could have happened, but effectively it hasn't been hitting the mileage, getting the amount of runs in, etc. But if that happens after a consistent week, what then happens in the following week is I'll attempt to get back onto the plan where I left off. that within itself is then problematic, because in my mind I'm thinking, but the week before you managed the mileage, so now less than 2 weeks later you should be able to do the next jump up, whatever that is. Obviously it's only ever really between a 10 to 15% increase, but with that week in between where it's not been a recovery week as such, it just hasn't been a very good week, it knocks me back slightly, even if that's just mentally, and then it throws me out completely, and that in of course is just a further problem. So I'm here today volunteering at the Centurion North Downs Way 50, which I was supposed to be running myself this year obviously, but with the way that the training plan went with that chest infection, the 5 weeks out, etc., you've all heard it all before. I'd already booked the hotel, it was non-refundable, so I thought what better way than to give back and actually come down and do some volunteering. So I'm marshalling today, which is really nice because it means I'm stood out telling people they can't park on the road, and we've actually just seen the first finisher go through and break the course record, so that's really cool to see as well, and he looks so comfortable doing it, so comfortable. I think he actually could have probably knocked a bit more off the course time, but still amazing. Really glad to be here today anyway, and thanks to Centurion for giving me the opportunity. And it does also mean, which is great, and I can't thank them enough for this, that because I'm volunteering for over 7 hours, I will get guaranteed entry next year to the North Downs Way 50, and that's just brilliant. That's amazing to hear. So I'm coming back here next year and I'm smashing it and making sure I get my hands on one of those medals that I helped to unload from the van earlier. Fourth and final run of the week. Not long got back from Aldershot from volunteering at the North Downs Way 50 yesterday. Amazing experience, really enjoyed it, and highly recommend to anyone considering volunteering. Anyway, so 12 miles left on the plan for this week, but I think I can quite safely say it will not be 12 miles today. It's 5:45 in the evening now. Got to get back to get my daughter to bed, and also obviously eat, chill, etc. But aside from that, I am shattered from this weekend. It really taken it out of me. Not slept great from having to share a room with the kids. And also it was a long day yesterday in the heat. Very emotional, very draining, but great, as I said. So anyway, yeah, got back, really wasn't feeling a run, really didn't want to get out, and then thought to myself, no, you've got to do it. You've got to get into that mindset of being tired isn't an excuse. There's a difference between being injured and being tired, isn't there? Of course. And I'm not injured. I'm knackered right now, as you can tell. And I think part of this is also down to terrible eating this weekend. 2 Premier Inn breakfasts on one weekend, pizza yesterday from this great pizza van that happened to come along whilst we were volunteering, and that was a godsend. It meant I got a decent tea in. Could have had some really decent food from the other volunteers at the finish line as well. We were welcome to have drinks and food, which I thought was really great, really nice. Wasn't expecting that, but I also didn't want to take advantage of that too much. Anyway, I'm waffling. Standard. This evening's run's just going to be a case of, you know, getting out and just going for as long as I can. It won't be 12 miles. I won't quite hit this week's target, but you know what? Looking at the positives, 4 runs this week with a very busy week, and this one, getting myself out, getting something in, because historically I'd have talked myself out of it and I'd have gone, well, if you're not going to reach the weekly target, what is the point? Ah, ducklings. Yeah, I'd have gone, what is the point in getting out and getting any miles in? Which I know is ridiculous and very self-defeatist, but that's what I'm trying to work and overcome. You know, even if I got out tonight and only done 3 miles, 3 miles more than I would have done otherwise, I'm already over that, fortunately. But yeah, so let's get this done. Let's get this great second week that might not have quite gone to plan, but that's still been brilliant. Done. Talking earlier on in the week about how on my wellbeing run on Tuesday afternoon everything seemed to just click again, fall into place. I'm reflecting on that this week. I think I finally come up with an analogy that might just about explain how it feels, and effectively that analogy is, it's like driving a car. Once you've got in and you get going and you get into the rhythm, into the motion, your brain almost switches off. Like, you're not consciously thinking about driving. It just becomes subconscious, really straightforward, really easy. And effectively, the running's the same sort of thing for me. I can get to a point, once I've found my rhythm, that largely I can switch off and my mind can do other things. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love it so much, because the space that it gives me is just unreal. I hope that analogy's done it justice anyway, and I also hope people would understand what I'm on about.